Hey everybody, this is Live and Local with Debbie, and today we are going to talk about Black Swamp. Black Swamp happens here in Bowling Green, Ohio, and this year it is September 9th, 10th, and 11th. And today I am interviewing Dan Stutzman.
Mm-hmm.
He is the PR guy, correct?
I am the PR guy, yeah.
Okay, well, hello Dan.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad so far.
Excellent.
But the interview just started, so...
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see, yeah.
Right.
There's no telling. So, explain to me what you do.
Well, as PR and marketing guy, my job is mostly doing this kind of stuff, making sure people know about the festival and that we're ready and it's going to be awesome and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, in charge of all that, getting people here.
Do you have power?
No.
No power?
Oh, well, of course I have power. Just not very much.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right, I want to talk to the people in power. Forget you.
Oh, we can get those guys. So
how long have you been doing this?
This is this is the 24th year of the festival. This is my 22nd year volunteering for the festival, and this is my 4th year as the PR and marketing guy.
And how did you land this?
I landed this it's all volunteer. All of us do this 100% volunteer. When Amy and Matt Karlovic, who were the last people who did this, decided they were ready to be done for a while, they asked me if I wanted to, and I said, sure, why not? And so here I am, 4 years later, still doing it.
Nice. So tell me what's involved. Are you busy from morning till night?
It is for the planning committee, those of us who are doing this year round. It starts pretty much the week after the festival ends, and we start planning for the next one. Next year's our 25th, so it's going to be, I'm sure, a very active year and lots to do. But yeah, we spend most of the year doing it. I get really, really involved, usually around middle of June, July, with starting to do radio interviews and things like that, writing press releases and getting posters made and all of that kind of stuff.
And who comes up with, because every year the posters are just always so different.
Since Amy and Matt started doing it, and even before them, really, we try to find local artists who like to do this.
Okay.
So Amy and Matt Karlovic had done, I think, I don't know, probably the previous 15 of them. And when I took over a couple years ago, I got Will Santino, who was a local kid who designed a poster for us. And then the last 2 years, I've had Erin Holmberg do it, who is a local graphic design artist. She works up at Owens and has been doing this a long time, but she was a BG grad from both the high school and the university. So we thought, who better than a townie?
That's great. So say somebody's listening to this and there's somebody at the high school or somebody, that's just listening to this and is like, oh, I would love to do that. Can they? How do they do that?
If we ask you, yeah.
You have to ask them.
No, it's kind of we go out and find the people.
Okay.
So I think next year, because it's 25th, we're going to have Amy Karlovic's going to come back and do the one for the 25th.
Okay.
So she's awesome at it. Some of the all-time very favorites have been ones that she designed. So we want her to come back and do one more. And then the next year, we'll see where we go from there.
Nice. So. Okay. So do you have your house lined with all of these posters?
I have... Yes, I do. And I'm not the only one. In fact, I've seen incredible collections of them at people's houses in town. They have all of them, or even the music posters that we've started doing a few years ago. They're just everywhere. It's kind of cool. I have a few hung up in my house, really, but there are people in town who do have them all and framed and hung. It is pretty incredible.
Some of them have been incredible.
Oh,
and I know last year... or the past couple of years, on the one side, there's the poster, and then you have the coloring part that you can color, because my kids have done that. But this year, it's different. There's no coloring.
No, we...
What do we got going on back here?
We started a couple years ago with the coloring on one of Amy and Matt's, that they just thought it'd be fun to have a coloring on the back. And since then, we've kind of let's keep doing it. It's fun to put things on the back. It makes it a more interactive thing. And this year, I think the poster itself didn't lend itself, because of all the photography on it, to being a coloring poster. But Erin's goal when she made this poster was to talk about the history of the Great Black Swamp itself. So all the flowers on it were picked around town or out at Winter Garden Nature Park. And so she just kind of wanted to show more of like what the natural habitat is around here. And then on the back of the poster, we did a flower identification guide for see if you identify them on the front of the poster. I can tell you the roaster down for Grounds for Thought, Dave Breen, is the first guy I think who got them all right.
Wow.
It was amazing because I helped put this together. I don't know them all. And then at the bottom of the poster is the life in the swamp. And it's just like a did you know? It's a history of what it was like here before settlers. And it's pretty cool.
So tell me, so this area really was a swamp?
This truly was one of the most disgusting areas in all of the United States.
Nice. I like that.
It was, so my wife's the naturalist at Winter Garden.
Okay.
And so she knows more of this than I do, but I do know that it stretched from kind of southern Michigan all the way down to Findlay, and from about Fort Wayne to close to Sandusky, about 1,500 square miles. And it was covered in trees. It was deep swamp, mucky, gross, stinky, flies and mosquitoes, and
sounds attractive.
Settlers tried to get through and they would get stuck here. People avoided this area. It was the last part of Ohio that was settled. And really to settle it, it was Eastern European immigrants came in and they drained the swamp. All the fields have tiles under them that they came and put in to drain all the water out of here. And now they have some of the most fertile and great soil in all of Ohio for sure, and probably in the region. It is great farmland now.
So if we were to dig, we would get to that swamp again, wouldn't we?
No, probably would. It's just we've drained all the water off it.
Okay.
We're down to maybe 5% of the original swamp. You can see little remnants of it here and there. If you ride down the bike trail, you can see little spots of it.
Oh, okay.
But largely, I mean, we just don't have much of it left, which for humans living here, not a bad thing.
Now, I had heard, and I don't know if this is true, and I don't know if you would know, but going towards Fremont, and I forget the name of the road, but there used to be hotels purposely there?
There were about 2 roads that you could get through the swamp on. One of them was, and they were along the Sand Ridges, so Sand Ridge Road for sure was a place you could kind of get around. It was an old Native American trail, basically. And then, I can't remember the road, but there was a wooden road that was put in through the swamp that kind of ran down to Fremont. And they put some hotels up along it, but again,
for the people that got stranded.
Yeah, mostly for people who got stranded, or it just took a long time to get through the swamp. It really was it was hard to get stuff through here.
That's interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
So, back to your job with the festival. What's your favorite part of the job?
Talking about the festival. I came here in 1992 as a student, which was the first year they had the festival. And what was it, 93? Anyway.
You should know this.
I should. But I came down to it. I saw it was real small. It wasn't much that year, but it was kind of a cool thing. And then the next year I found out that this is done by local people. This is just a couple guys got together and like, we should have a festival. And like, yeah, and then a group of people got together to do this. And it's been that same spirit for 24 years now it's a bunch of local people who really, really care about the festival and want it to be big and cool and fun and free. And so we have a dedicated group of people who come together every year to make this thing happen. And so I like talking about it because it is awesome. It really is.
It truly is.
It is a truly unique and different sort of festival.
It is. And I know, at least in my family, we can feel the excitement building, and you can see the excitement building, which is even better. And it's a great time for everyone.
It is truly an impressive thing.
So what don't you like about your job?
Trying to get volunteers to show up.
That's everybody's job.
We spend a lot of time trying to recruit volunteers. We are all volunteer run from top to bottom, and it takes about 850 volunteers on the weekend to make it go. Wow. And every year we're, at this time of year, begging people to come out. So if you're listening, come on out.
And do you usually get enough people?
Yeah, and people cover for people. We have never had it go bad. So people show up and volunteer. It's awesome.
Yeah. I can't say enough about this festival. It's wonderful. Should tell me about the very beginnings. Who started it?
Well, this was it was really Kelly Wicks and a guy Jim Tinker who used to be in town. They really, I think, over beers one night, kind of had this idea, and then they got a couple other people involved. Chris Guyevich was big early on in making sure they had things they needed to make it go, organizing. Floyd Kraft had a lot to do early on and with financials, helping get it up off the ground.
And again, these are all local people.
And these are all local people, everybody. Kelly Kling, who's out at the History Museum now, she had a lot to do early on in getting it organized. It's an amazing group of people who they really, truly, I mean, Jim and Kelly really, truly cared about downtown and wanted something to attract people to this town that was something different, something that was kind of for everybody. And came up with this idea, and it's been an amazing thing. It's grown in ways that we couldn't imagine.
Do you think that not everybody, but do you think the majority of the people that started it are still involved?
Actually, no. Almost none of them are.
Oh.
I try to think of the people who are involved right now, and Amy Kraft Aarons has been around a real long time. I've been around a real long time. And other than that, there's no original members left right now.
Kelly Wicks.
He's not doing it this year.
He's not?
No, Kelly gave it up this year. It is Tim Concannon and Cole Christensen are doing the music this year.
Really?
Yeah.
And why did he do that?
I think he did it for 23 years, and I think it's a lot of time and effort, and I think he was looking forward to taking a year off, and he's running for office this year too, which takes up a lot of time.
This is true.
I think it was, I mean, I know at the end of last year, he just decided that it was time to let somebody else do it, and I mean, he's still involved. It's not like he certainly helped out a lot this year and has, given his advice and helps with the music stuff still, but he wanted to take a step back this year and let somebody else do it and see how it goes.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
Was there at one point that he just ran the whole thing by himself?
No. He has never. Okay. He had always done the music stage.
Okay.
And taken care of that. The rotating board of chairs has been long and distinguished, I'm sure. But
how often does the board meet, and where do you meet?
We meet monthly. Until about a month and a half before the festival. We meet above Ace Hardware.
Okay.
It's open to the public if anyone wants to come down for it. Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. And leading up to the festival, we go weekly starting in August. Okay. Usually July, we're going every other week. But yeah, as the festival gets closer, we meet more and make sure everything's good.
Oh, and they're always open to the public?
Always open to the public if someone wants to come down and see it. I mean, yeah.
Okay. All right, good to know. How big has this thing grown? Like, if you can you give me an estimate?
We started the first year, they think a few thousand people showed up. They don't really have good numbers, but again, it was a very small our first year. We estimate right now we are bringing in somewhere between 60 and 80,000 people on a weekend.
How do you keep track of that?
Head count. We take pictures from above.
Okay.
And you kind of make little squares on, you count the heads, and then you multiply the squares.
Is that your job to multiply the squares?
That's somebody else's job.
Thank goodness. I wouldn't want to do that.
We haven't done it in a few years, but...
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of get an estimate, and based on how much beer we sell and how much of all those things. I was going to say
how much beer we drink.
Well, if we went by how much beer we drank, there's probably 400,000 people in town. But that's just the committee.
Oh, okay. So, is it fair to say that people all over the country or all over the world come to this festival?
Definitely all over the country. I got a message from a couple just a couple weeks ago whose son had gone here, and they come every year. They've come, I believe this will be their 5th year since their son graduated, that they come from Minnesota.
Wow.
Just for the festival. They just think it's a great one. They love that, the artists on the street are all so personable and like to talk about their art. They can see like a band up on the big stage and then also catch them on a smaller stage and get a chance to even talk to them. Something they just think it's the coolest.
Well,
I know
because it is.
Well, yeah, I agree with them for sure. But I know I talk to people from Pennsylvania, Florida, Indiana, and Michigan for sure. But
Do you get to enjoy it? I mean, like that weekend,
Yeah,
do you walk around and...
I have things going on I have to do. I have interviews to do and TV spots and all that. But largely, I just get to walk around and talk to people. And I mean, kind of the nice thing about my job on the weekend is it's pretty much done by the time Saturday morning's over.
Right.
But we can get out, and I like getting out and talking to the artists and gathering, seeing what they're all thinking about it and why they love our festival, so we can play on that in the future. So it is pretty incredible.
If somebody has an idea or
Mm-hmm.
suggestion or criticism, how do they just come to a meeting?
They can come to me. They can email us, info@blackswampfest.org. We look at it every week, and or most every day at this point, but we take all criticisms and suggestions very seriously and try to do what we can do with them. So,
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I do have, something has been brought up time and time again, and I've heard this before, and it's about the local music.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say it's all local bands, that's not necessarily true.
We've never said it's all local bands.
Okay.
We in fact purposely try not to book local bands because
Why not?
we want to bring in acts that aren't seen around here. I can go see local bands almost any weekend. We have plenty of exposure for local bands. We've had local band stages on and off. If somebody's willing to run it, we are willing to help out with it. But in the end, Howard's does an awesome job of that. They have local bands in there the entire weekend. They play there all the time. It's great. We feel like that's not something we want to do. Our mission as a festival is to bring in things that people here wouldn't normally see. So like this year we have like John Brown's band or Pokey Lafarge coming in.
He's cheating. I just want everybody
Yeah,
to
I'm
know
looking
that
at my
he is
poster right now.
looking at the poster. These names are just not popping off of his head.
Here, I'll turn it over. I'll pop them all off right now. But nonetheless, these are bands that otherwise don't come to our area. You're not going to be able to see. And we want to bring in these different acts that, and for our local musicians even, being able to see some of these guys play, like bringing up Little Axe. He's an amazing little blues guitar player who we have many, many blues people here who love those things and are very inspired by it. We've brought in lots of African bands in the past. This year we have a French band coming. It's really, the goal is to bring in music that doesn't get much exposure around here, I guess.
Okay.
I worked for WBGU, the local station here, and it's kind of that same philosophy of we want to give exposure to bands that have troubles getting exposure anyway. So,
but don't you think that local bands are having a problem
I do.
getting that exposure?
And having been in local bands myself,
Okay.
yeah. And I was definitely one of those people years ago who's like, why don't we play on the main stage? Why don't we get more local bands?
Right.
And really, until I got very involved with the festival and the music part of the festival, I kind of didn't understand it either. But I get it. I think the idea now is that, look, we're trying to bring in a diversity of bands that otherwise people in town aren't going to be able to see. We understand the importance of local bands having a chance to play, but really what we want to encourage people is that music is awesome and there are all kinds of music, and that please go out and see the local bands because there are great bands around here. But as a festival, what we want to do is expose people here in this town to more big bands. And honestly, part of it is we have to sell beer. This festival runs on beer and donations. If we're not bringing in bands that people want to come down and see in large, large numbers, we don't sell enough beer.
So then why not get a large local, or let me rephrase that, why not get a large act, a famous act?
Like Michael Caton? Michael Caton's local. He's headlining Sunday.
Okay.
We have
all right.
Corey and the boys are coming.
Oh,
That's
wait a
Corey
minute.
Baum. He's local.
What about Paul Simon? What about...
Costs too much. We're
Okay.
a small festival. We are not. We're not Lollapalooza. We're not anything like that. We have about a budget around $80,000 for bands,
Okay.
and that is our yearly budget. We try to spend it on the best bands we can get at that price. But because we're a small festival, and we're not Lollapalooza, we're not Riot Fest, we're not something like that. We have to catch bands that are kind of on their way from like Chicago to Cleveland or Detroit to Columbus or one of those. They're kind of going through the area at the time and attract those bands here. We're very successful at it. Our music crew has for years been maybe one of the best. The musicians I talk to love coming here. They feel like they're treated like royalty is how I think I've heard it. They transport it around. We have people backstage cooking homemade food for them. So they get to eat great food. And they're like, you don't believe how many places we go. They just give us food tickets to go buy some of the stuff out in the fairway and enjoy it. And,
Right.
they're like, we can only eat so many greasy things. And so they all have a place to stay when they're here. It's a big deal for a lot of and we aren't bringing in huge bands all the time. Some of these bands are local to their scene in other places. Suitcase Junket this year, he's a guy who's just recently started touring a lot more, but he's a guy who came up out of a local scene who, we heard about, found out what he does. We really like the guy. He does some cool stuff, and we want to give him a chance to get some exposure around here.
Okay, that's fair. And then any local bands, there's still an outlet for them on the smaller stages? We
do. We have quite a few local bands play over at the acoustic stage, or we call it the community stage. It's on Main Street by the old Huntington building in that little alcove. I think Grant Flick and his trio are playing this year.
Okay.
I know Kitty Glitter's played there in the past.
Do you have a lot of bands repeating?
We try not to.
Okay.
We really try not to have too many bands come back year after year. That being said, there are people Tom Gorman, this will probably be his 24th year in a row, playing somewhere at the festival.
Okay.
But there's not a lot of those. And we really do try to give a local band a chance when we can. Unfortunately, you end up getting some opening slots on the big stage. But a couple years ago, we had Frank and Jesse open Sunday on the big stage. And we know that we're not the best for local bands, but really what we're trying to do is something else. So we try to get them on some of the smaller stages. And really, Howard's is the one, they do a great job. All day long. It is awesome. And we try to push people over. We don't make it a secret that they're doing this.
Right.
So.
I just lost my question. So if a band is interested, be it on the main stage or a local, how do they drop off a demo?
They can drop off a demo here at Grounds for Thought. We will get it here and take it. But really what we encourage is people to email us. Send us a link. Most people have their stuff online now. If they're interested in playing, send us a link to what you do. But we do get literally hundreds of these a month.
So what's the criteria?
We got to like you.
Okay.
Really, it is.
Do you take bribes? Candy bars?
We'll see.
Okay.
No, it's it really does come down to kind of a uniqueness, a level of professionalism that we're looking for. It is, if you're going to play up on the big stage, it is very professional. So you're coming in, you're playing on somebody else's back line. You're not bringing your own stuff. And local bands in the past have a hard time with that.
Yes.
What do you mean I'm not going to play my own drums? Well, you're going to play the drums we set up because the next band's going to play them too. And then maybe the one after that.
Right.
So we do get some of that. But mostly it comes down to, if you're a local band, how much of a following do you have? Will you bring people to our festival? Things like that. And then really, a lot of it comes down to whoever's in charge of booking our music. Do they like what they're hearing? And does it fit with what their vision for the festival is this year?
Does it help who you know instead of what you know? Of
course it helps who you know, because then you can know for sure that we've heard it.
You know what? They're paying me big bucks to ask these questions. And by the way, I am not being paid anything.
I know, yeah.
So
they're paying me the no bucks to answer them. So.
Okay, let's switch now to artists and the vendors.
Yeah.
What's the process for that?
We're a juried art show, which means in February we open up our application process, and the artists who want to show here have to submit 3 pieces of work, slides, and we have a couple jurors, 2 or 3 per year, who sit down and they view all the slides without names or anything like that,
Right.
and they kind of pick their 100 favorites, decide which ones they think are unique, different, something like that, and but it's kind of a blind draw. And it's not even a draw; it's a jury. I mean, they're
Right.
judging these things, and
Right.
then after they pick their favorite 100 or whatever, we send out, "You've been accepted," and if they want to come, then then they're invited.
And that's a completely different group of people
And
that
that's
are in charge
That
of
is,
that.
yeah. It's right now. It's Brenda Baker is
Okay.
in charge of that. She's done it for a few years now. Does a wonderful, wonderful job. She's really done a good job diversifying and bringing in more talent from around the country. And as we've grown as a festival, I mean, we are a top 100 nationally ranked art festival. And it has to do with everything we do here. But the art show itself is truly, truly one of the best in Ohio. We really only ever get beat by Columbus and Cincinnati's major ones.
Wow. Okay.
It is. And we are the only one in the top 100 that's all volunteer run. So everyone else is paid staff.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
It really is.
Yes. So if you need people to volunteer for anything and everything, and all they need to do is just go onto the website. I mean, I know I volunteered last year and I had a blast. I mean, I think I did 1 or 2 shifts. I just had a great time. I didn't
it's
do
great.
much, but I had a great
What'd you
time.
volunteer this last year?
By the bands. I let people come and go.
Oh, excellent.
And I loved it.
Game monitor.
I'll,
We love Game
yeah,
Monitor.
I may do that again.
Oh, awesome. We would love it.
Do I talk to you? After
Go
the
online,
show?
sign up.
I thought it's who you know, man.
Well, now that you know me, you can go online and sign up.
Nice. All right. So, has there been any talk about expanding on Main Street or making it longer?
You know, it comes and goes, that talk, but it comes down to manpower and how much we're willing to commit to doing that kind of stuff. We talk about wanting to grow, but honestly, we're pretty comfortable at the size we are. It's a lot to manage on that weekend for just volunteers, and yeah, someday we'll probably grow bigger again, but right now, honestly, what we're working on is improving the quality of what we have. So the art show that we have now, we're every year working on better artists, better art, different art, something exciting and new coming in, and really making the art show the best it can be. And hopefully eventually we can grow it maybe by another 50 booths and push it down South Main a little bit farther.
That would be great.
We would love to do it, but yeah, it's a growing process. And
Right.
yeah, we don't want to overcommit our volunteers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, people get tired, and,
Yeah.
when you start losing people,
Right. Yeah.
you don't want to do that.
Exactly. So.
Has anything ever happened where it's just all gone wrong? Bands haven't shown.
Certainly.
There's been trouble in the beer garden.
Oh, yeah. But honestly, sure, there's been incidences, but largely it's really not. Really not a ton of problems. I mean, there's bands that come in that aren't a ton of fun to work with, or are late, or they're flying in on a plane that, flight gets canceled.
Right.
We had, a few years ago, Charlie Louvin was going to be our Sunday headliner. He's going to play the 3:30 show. Got real sick, passed away a little bit after the festival. So he couldn't come. He was too ill. And John Primer was playing before him. He just ended up playing a 3-hour set instead of an hour set.
Okay.
And it was amazing. It was so much fun. And he had a great time doing it.
Now, so when that happens, do you all think, oh, crap? Do you have like a wait list? Like, okay, if this person doesn't show, we're going to get hold of this person.
Kind of.
Okay.
We have friends like in Chicago and Detroit, especially in the Chicago blues scene. Kelly knows a lot of those guys. And so in the past, we've had like a band drop out like a week ahead of time, and we just make a call up to Detroit or Chicago and typically find somebody who wants to come play. But we've certainly filled those slots with locals before, too.
Okay.
It doesn't happen often, though, really. Bands are getting paid to be here. They're all professionals, and they want to get paid. So
Absolutely.
we're not, that's usually not a problem. For our artists, though, we do have a wait list, and if an artist gets, something comes up and they can't make it and they drop out, then we call the next person on the wait list.
Okay.
Till we get all the way down, and we've never had a problem filling spots. So.
And those artists are from all over.
Yeah,
correct?
We have pretty much an order that we call them in. They're kind of a ranked order, and then we call them on that.
But they're from all over the country. It's not.
It could be. It depends how far out. I mean, if somebody cancels, Wednesday, and we start Saturday morning with artists, it's probably going to be. We're going to call somebody up either from the Wood County Invitational show to take that spot, or somebody who lives nearby who's expressed interest or something like that. Someone we know can get here and do it quick and not have a problem. So,
how much revenue do you think that this brings to the city?
We were just discussing that this year. We haven't done a study on that in a long time, and I would be afraid to even guess.
Okay.
But I can't imagine it's not significant. We know the hotels are filled the whole weekend. We know the restaurants are filled all weekend. We know there's people coming from all over the place. I imagine the economic impact is enormous, but...
Are you going to try to figure that out?
Yeah, I think for the 25th we want to do that. It helps when we're looking at grants and things like that to kind of be able to talk about it. And it hasn't been done in a while, and I'm sure it'll get done soon.
Right.
Yeah.
Get hopping on it, will you?
Yeah, I'll get that done next week.
Thank you.
No problem.
See how easy that is? I love it when people just jump when I tell them. How well does the city work with you?
Amazingly well. They have been, from the beginning, our city is just wonderful with this. In fact, just this year, when you come to our beer garden this year, you'll notice there are no tripping hazards. All of City Lot 2, which is where we do that, they removed all the parking meters and all of the parking blocks, or whatever those are called.
The yellow
those are all things
cement thingies.
Yeah, that you scrape the front of your car and then bump your tires on real hard.
You're laughing, but you've done it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're all gone. They took them all out this year. That's going to be a like they do on University of the Swipe car. Yeah, so that's going back there. But what it means for the festival, they did this largely for the festival.
Wow.
So that
without being asked, or did you guys approach them and say?
Asked them. We have friends who work in the city and stuff like that who kind of. But before that, they had put in all new electric boxes for our main stage, so we didn't have to run power lines all over the place, and just. Everything from like putting up our vertical banners that you see all up and down the streets in the weeks before. It's from, city administrator down. Everybody has always been helpful. I mean, the mayor comes out and I've seen him checking people in the morning, and everybody gets involved.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there is already excitement in the air. Now, coming here today, I noticed that there's one of those like neon sign electronic things, and I saw a couple of barricades. Are they already getting ready?
I believe that is for, I think there's a run this weekend. I'm not really sure.
I thought, it's kind of early, but that's exciting.
No, our first big, first noticeable thing that will happen is over this weekend, we will come out and we will put the chalk paint on the streets to mark where the booths go. So you'll drive up and down Main Street after Monday morning, and we should have all the booths marked out. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Then Thursday early morning, Wednesday night we shut down Lot 2, and Thursday morning the stage will show up, and Thursday afternoon maybe.
Now, are you always using the same company for the stages and lights and stuff?
They've changed over the years, but we've used the same guy for a couple years now.
Okay. So. Let's go back to the city and the police for a minute. Do they provide security? How are the police getting involved? Do you have security?
We hire the police for security.
Okay.
We pay we basically pay their salaries for the time they work for us. There's a contract with the city for a
Right.
certain amount. I mean, but basically, we don't want the city to get hurt by providing the police to us that we need for our security.
Right.
And we don't want to hire private security. We know the police officers in town. We have a very nice police force. They love helping out with it. And I mean, you see them all over the place. They very helpful, honestly.
Oh yeah,
We love having them here.
they're
And significantly cheaper than hiring private security. So,
now that I think about it, there has been in the past protesters. Not protesters.
Yeah, I was going to say protest seems
No,
like a weird word for them.
That's not. There has been, how should I say? People with certain beliefs.
Yes.
That have.
Big signs that
Yes.
some
Have
people
you
can find
seen
very
them?
offensive.
Yes.
And yes, we know them.
I noticed that was a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following year, they were kind of restricted into a alleyway.
Yes.
Will that continue?
We hope so.
Excellent.
Here's the deal with that is, look, it's free speech.
Right.
This is America. If they want to march up and down our street, there's not a lot. We really ask that people not do that at our festival. Our festival is about community and art and fun. I understand that there's all kinds of political beliefs and there's people running for office right now and all that stuff is going on. People understand it's a great opportunity to get out and get your views out to a lot of people.
Right.
But that is not what we're about. We do not want to be that. We ask the local parties and all that, please do not solicit during our festival. We do not want people out here with petitions. We don't want that. And that's just from us. We
Right.
truly ask, this is a wonderful community event. People love to come here because that's not happening. So it's a free speech issue and
It can get touchy.
it can get touchy, but really what we ask is that please don't. This is
Do they need a permit? I mean, they can just show up.
They can just show up and do it, yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, it's rarely a problem.
Right.
Most people
Right.
understand that this isn't the time or place for it. And really, the couple times that they really were vocal in downtown, people have said enough things and it gets annoying enough. But really, the best thing that ever happened with that was guy who was running one of our local stages that year, John Zibble, got up and made these awesome signs. I believe Jeremy was involved with it.
I remember this.
They made signs that just really big said street performers and stood behind them.
I
And
remember that.
It totally
Yes.
took their legs out from under them. They suddenly people were laughing like, look, that's funny. And they left because suddenly it's the power of humor.
Right.
And the power of, come on, man,
Relax.
relax. We're all here for something different.
Right.
But yeah, so we have them, we deal with them, we
Okay.
move on. So
And I thought that you all handled it very well.
thank you.
The first year, I think it was I think we were all taken back by it. We were all very shocked by it.
We were very surprised. We had no idea
Yeah.
what was going to happen.
And we were confused by it. But the way you all handled it the following year, I thought was very, very tactful, very,
Thank you.
You let them do what they needed to do, and you all did what you needed to do.
Right. We try to work with everybody when we can. It's annoying, but it happens. And hey, you know what? Honestly, we know some of those people are local and we
Yes,
know them very
yes.
well. And we've gone out and talked to them and said, come on, look. And the more militant ones are like, whatever, we don't care. But most of them were very, very like, yeah, you're right. We agree. And we won't do it again next year. And I think you've seen that there's less and less presence
Yes.
of them. We see them Friday and Saturday nights a lot during the music. They like to come down, but then it's nighttime and it's just kind of,
And then it's time for
it
bed.
just kind of fits into the festival
Yeah.
feel anyway. I guess,
Exactly.
so.
So if you had to pick your favorite part, because there's parts for adults, there's parts for kids, the library has a huge book sale. What's your favorite part? What do you always like to go to?
The music. Being in bands and being very involved with music, I love the music that's at the festival, but it's hard to pick. I have kids. I love our youth arts is by far one of the coolest things at our festival. The fact that it's all free, kids get to make all kinds of awesome art. It might really be, I have a hard time saying any part's my favorite part. I love, you know what it really is? What I love about this festival, it's
You're going to say the hat making, aren't you?
I love the hat making.
I knew it.
No, but no, you know what I love about the festival, my favorite part of the festival is that it's the festival. It's everything together really is what makes it awesome, because it's 3 festivals in one is how I think of this.
Okay.
We have a music festival, we have an art festival, and we have a youth arts festival. And they're all kind of run like the art people do their job, the music people do their job, the youth arts people do their job. Like our chalk walk that's a couple years old now,
Right.
with the high school kids, they do their job. And as long as everyone's doing it, the whole festival is amazing.
And then
it's-
you have volunteers from BGSU. You have a lot of those students coming out, showing their art, helping out.
I mean, it is amazing. But if I really had to truly pick my favorite part, I do love seeing the music. I love seeing bands that I don't otherwise get a chance to see come in and play. May not be my favorite type of music or my favorite genre all the time, but it is always something different and something kind of fun. And the bands really have a great time here. And
Right.
it really shows when they play on stage. A couple years ago, we had Trombone Shorty here. That guy had a great time. It was amazing. Robert Randolph a couple years ago.
Yes.
That show was, that was
spectacular.
that was just amazing. I hung out in the middle of the audience with my mom and dad and just was blown away by it. That was great. So I remember sitting, when my son was a very little baby, I remember sitting in my backyard. I just lived down Main Street a few blocks. I remember sitting in my backyard and listening to the music from my backyard as I was giving him a bottle while he was falling asleep.
Aw.
And just having a great time and hearing, I can't remember what the band was at that night, but I could hear the music at my house. And I was like, this is cool.
It's a lot better than the tractables.
I love a good tractor pull.
I think he's lying.
I'm absolutely not lying.
Really?
No, I grew up in Central Ohio in a farming town.
Oh.
I went to tractor pulls and demolition derbies all the time as a
Yay,
kid.
tractables. Yay.
There is something to building a really good engine that is kind of exciting. But
Okay.
you'll just have to take my word for it.
I will take your word for it. So who is the keeper of all things Black Swamp Festival? Is there like little, I don't know, souvenirs, pictures, history? Who's doing that?
There is BGSU, the library keeps an archive.
Okay.
And the Wood County History Museum, I believe, has an archive. And they we give some stuff to them, and they usually gather a bunch of stuff. But I always think really the people who are truly have the archives of this festival is the town, the community here.
You are a great PR guy.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
But really, it's that what we were talking about earlier, going to somebody's house and seeing all the posters
Right.
hanging up in their house. That is really, I think, that's truly like the spirit of this festival. We are the keepers of this festival, like everybody in town.
I like this guy. Wow. He is good. All right. So tell me, you have a website, you have a Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Who in general do we talk to? Who, phone numbers? Give me what you got. Give me websites. Give me.
Our website is blackswampfest.org. That has everything on it. It's links to anything you would have. Our Facebook is Black Swamp Fest, I think. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. Go on Facebook, type in Black Swamp Arts Festival. You'll find it. We have Twitter. We are on Instagram. Our hashtag this year, if anyone's coming down, is BSAF 2016. So tag pictures. Let us all know. We love sharing them and seeing it all.
So can you give us a hint of what you're planning for the 25th anniversary? Do you know?
We don't know.
Okay.
I mean, we were planning, honestly, there's a lot of talk going on. We would like to commission a art piece for the city. I don't know if it's all up in the air. There's talk of commissioning an art piece. We're talking about for the music, maybe bringing back a bunch of favorite bands from the past.
Ruthie Forrester. Foster.
Yeah. Ruthie Foster.
Oh my God. Kelly Ritchie.
That would be cool too.
That would be cool. I can talk to it tonight.
Okay, there you
I'm
go.
going to go see it tonight.
We're talking about like Southern Culture on the Skids.
Okay.
There's tons of old bands, and maybe we would really like to highlight. Honestly, we were talking a lot about highlighting a local band that's someone like the Matt Truman Ego Trip or something like that. The Zimmerman Twins, guys like that who have been around a long. I mean, Matt Truman in this local scene has been around for so long and has done amazing things. Personally, I would love to see him get a chance to play up on the big stage. I think absolutely deserves it.
Right.
But saying that, that's me. I'm the PR guy. I'm not the music guy.
What do you know?
I know. So, but yeah, we want to do something big next year. We want to make it a really special one.
Fireworks?
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. I tried.
That's a lot of permits come with that and insurance. So, but really, at this point, what we're looking at for the 25th is we've started an endowment for the festival.
Okay.
We want to start contributing a lot to that. We would love to make the festival self-sufficient. And I think that's going to be a lot of the drive of the 25th is let's try to self-fund this festival. We would like to. We have a lot of donors right now, and we need the donations. We need local donors to keep giving to this festival. It really is what makes it great. And all the money that comes to this festival goes right back into it. Because we don't have any staff we pay, we don't have anything like that.
Right.
Every dollar that comes in is spent on the festival. And any profit we make goes back into the festival, or at this point is working on building our foundation. We would love to get to a point where we could draw interest out of our endowment and
that would
pay
be wonderful.
for the festival. It's years and years from happening.
Wow.
But that's a goal of ours. And I think with the 25th, we're going to hit that real hard and try to build that up.
Excellent.
But otherwise, we want to do something awesome. We're just not quite sure what it's going to be yet. So,
and you'll take suggestions.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, we're always looking for people who want to help us plan the festival, want to get involved with the committee, who have new ideas, and are willing to work with us and understanding there are limitations to what we can and can't do.
Right, absolutely.
But we're always looking for ways to make this even better and more fun and more entertaining. New things to do, new things to see, new bands to hear. We always trying to make it just better than it was the year before.
Cool.
So.
And I do have to say, if you've never been to Black Swamp, it's something that you should come to. I know having teenage daughters, they complain constantly because they're teenagers that there's nothing to do in town, and there's not, and I think you can say that for every town that you grow up in. I said it about the town I grew up in, but Black Swamp, there's something for everyone.
Absolutely.
Everybody is helpful. There's just, I can't say enough about it. It's one of the highlights of Bowling Green. Yeah. And, proud to say that it's here. It's in our backyard.
Yeah, it is. I just can't talk enough about how much the community's involved in that. I mean, we're sitting here at Grounds for Thought, and I'm looking at art that was done by local students at like the elementary schools and hanging up in the windows. And
I have a question. Why the salamander?
Because early on, somebody picked it. I don't know. I really don't know the history of why.
It looked like he was going to come up with something really deep.
I really wish I had like some deep.
You need to make something up by next year.
Really, I think what it comes down to is the salamander represents the Black Swamp, and it's on a paintbrush when you see it, which represents the art. So
we'll go with that.
I mean, I know that's the history of it, but it's not that exciting. But it's a it is a distinguished logo that you recognize instantly now, I think. Especially
and who came up with that? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay.
That would have been before I was involved.
Okay.
So,
and do you plan on staying involved? I mean, in the future?
Do. Yeah. And at some level, I plan to always be involved. As long as I'm in this town, I will be involved with this festival somehow.
Good for you.
I don't know about the job I do now is a very involved job. It takes a lot. It's a second job, basically. I may not do this forever, but what's awesome about it is I know that if I step aside, there's going to be someone else who's going to step right into it and do an awesome job with it.
Right.
Every year I get great committee volunteers who want to come out and do this with me. And honestly, this festival is only as good as the volunteers who come out and help. And the more of them we have, the better ideas we have, the more enthusiastic people are about it, the better this festival is.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time out to do this. I know we tried a couple of times and we kept going back and forth. And I mean, I'm sure it's, sometimes hard on your family because you've got to be involved so much. But it's wonderful that you've done this and that you continue to do this.
Well, thank you.
And I look forward to what you're going to come up with because now the pressure's on.
Oh, yeah, I know. Thanks.
To come up with something spectacular for this. So, and it's happening next weekend, September 9th, 10th, and 11th. And what are the bands again?
No, now you're going to make me look. I'm actually going to look.
Yes.
So Friday night, 5 o'clock, the Tony Gotzi band, a local band. Tony Gotzi's going to be first thing up. A band called Southern Avenue's coming to play. The Delta Saints will be at 10, and our headliner that night is John Brown's Body, reggae band. They'll be on at 8. It's their second time through at the festival.
Okay.
Saturday, Grant Flick and, they're calling themselves Flick, Turner, and Warren are coming to play. Again, Grant Flick, if you haven't seen him, local kid, amazing.
I'll have to check that out.
Truly amazing musician and young kid, too. The Downtown County Band, Skip Little Axe McDonald's coming up from Dayton to play. Rhythm Future Quartet, they were very popular here last year, coming back to play. Mariachi Flor de Tololache, it's a all-female mariachi band from New York City.
Nice, girl power. I like that.
They've caused all kinds of waves in the mariachi scene because they don't wear dresses, and all female, and it's...
they will be clothed, though, right?
They will be clothed, yes. But, they're fantastic.
Okay.
I believe I was watching something on them last night. They were doing Nirvana's "Come As You Are" as a cover of mariachi. It was great. Pokey Lafarge is our headliner at 8 p.m. that night. He's amazing. If you haven't checked him out online, he's good. He'll be a lot of fun. And then the Sheepdogs are back. They were the band that got rained out.
Yes.
It was they played the Thunderstorm last year, and so we thought we should bring them back for another go at it. And
okay.
They're great rock, just straight up rock and roll band. So, and then Sunday morning at 11 a.m., Corey Baum's band. He's a local kid. Croy and the boys are coming up from Austin, Texas to play. It's Honky Tonk.
Honky Tonk.
They play, they're fun.
Okay.
So, we got the Suitcase Junkets coming. It's a one-man thing. It's a one-man band. He's played here at Grounds for Thought a while ago, and it was a great show. We have a band coming from France, Gingoa, they're really kind of cool synth pop type stuff. And then Michael Caton, who's been rock blues, he's been around here for a long time. So back when I was in bands in the 90s, we used to open for him a lot. So
great.
It's a great lineup. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then a lot of those bands will be playing on the smaller community stage and the family stage, so you can see them
a couple of times.
You can see Pokey Lafarge on the family stage up close, and people are very excited about it.
Cool. And these bands are all approachable afterwards if you want to talk to them, right?
Yeah. I mean, most of them come and sit down, sign autographs. They'll talk to you. They definitely want to sell their stuff to you. So, and please buy their stuff. Any of us who are in bands know that it's hard to make a living. Yes. So come buy their records and their shirts and do all that. That's where they make their money. So.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. And I look forward to walking around Black Swamp and just having a good time
Well,
volunteering.
thanks. We're looking forward to another great weekend, so it should be great.
Thank you very much, Jay. Thank you for doing sound tonight. And this is Debbie with Live and Local. I can't even say it. Live and Local with Debbie at WAKT 106.1 FM.